Welcome to the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show. My name is Agnes van Rhijn, and I'm a life and business success mentor at Success on Your Own Terms. I'm also the founder of the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show, and today at the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show, it's my privilege to be interviewing Kay White. Kay is the author of the #1 best-selling book, The A to Z of Being Understood. Kay is also the founder of the multiple six-figure mentoring company, Forward Solutions Ltd. Drawing on the highs and lows of her 20-year corporate career in international insurance broking, Kay's clients learn how to confidently attract promotion, recognition, and rewards by leveraging their skills, opportunities, and relationships without selling their souls. Welcome to the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show. How are you, Kay?
Thank you, Agnes. I'm very well, thank you.
I'm very pleased to have you because it's been a while since I've had a person. Well, I had one last week, but recently I haven't had many people who have a corporate background and who then moved into a reconversion to set up their own business, which is what I had done myself. So I'm very pleased to have you here today and share your story. Tell us about you.
Well, as you said there, yes, I show corporate women who are often stuck between their kind of the next level up. What got them there doesn't get them to the next level, and they get stuck. And what I find is, drawing on my own experience and also all of the experience of learning about language and studying NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and also working with hundreds and hundreds of clients now since I set my business up in 2006, I draw on all of this kind of wonderful, rich soup, if you will, of my own experience, of my other clients' experience, and of reading and bringing exercises and tools and strategies. And I think one of the big things, as you said, is I can walk the talk because I've been there. I started my corporate career as a secretary in this insurance broking outfit. It was one of the top 3 insurance brokers. And then I moved into the technical side, started to broker international business, travelled, became a divisional director, had the company car, all the pieces. And I was one of 6 professional women, as in we were broking business, transacting business rather than support or admin. I was one of 6 women in a group of about 40 men. So I really understood the highs and lows and twists and turns, some of which were my own making, in how to navigate that successfully, and not always successfully. So I had my own moments, I will say. And my intention with my business now is, if I can accelerate or bypass for any of my clients, be it in groups or one-to-one, any of the things that I got stuck with or that they're currently struggling with, then that's really what this is about. Because it can be very, very lonely. It all looks bright and shiny from the outside when you have a certain level in your career and you get the sort of rewards, but then it can also feel on the inside really lonely, as if you're lost and you don't quite know how to get out of a situation or make the best of yourself in a situation.
Yeah, definitely. I've been there. Know the feeling. I also had that career path where I was very successful, but at some point it didn't work anymore. And what I like, what is interesting in what you were mentioning is, yes, there is the reality of blocks that are there, but there's also those that we've created ourselves. So tell us more about that.
Well, often our behaviour and the way we think, and women, we have our conditioning, there's a lot of, every day you read and can access so much information about how women, sabotage their success, but actually we're set up, not necessarily set up to work in the best way. The whole kind of command and control way that often businesses is run, the whole, you have to be aggressive and dynamic to get ahead. Well, that's not necessarily true, and it doesn't necessarily last very long. I think we are taught to be polite. We are taught, as women, naturally we are for relationship and community versus, me, myself, and how can I leapfrog everyone else. That isn't necessarily our default. And so how we can slow ourselves down is by believing that we have to wait to be given things versus ask for them, that we have to wait and ask for permission to speak, that unless we're offered something, it's not there for us. And so one of the big things, I was working with a group of clients this weekend. We have a retreat and we go away for 2 or 3 days together and have fun, but we also do lots of career strategizing.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with you? And one of the big things is playing the game, thinking of work and thinking of how a corporate works. And corporate means a body, doesn't it? It's a big body.
Yeah, it's a system.
You're inside an organization doesn't mean to say you have to love everyone and everyone doesn't have to love you, which we often get confused by.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of the biggest things is thinking that it's a personal situation all the time, a do or die situation, versus actually career moves, and your success within your career is about playing the game. There's a game that's going on, whether you choose to play it or not. You know, certain things need to be done in a certain order, certain people need to hear certain things from you, certain things you should do more of and less of, whether they come naturally to you or otherwise. And here's the thing, a lot of women will say, well, that's not fair, it's not me, just take me as I am. And it's like, well, how well is that working for you? And often it's not. So it's like, well, do something else instead.
Very interesting. So if I understand you right, your clients are only corporate. You work with people in their career.
Mainly. It's where I've chosen to focus because it was where I was so stuck. And in my experience, some of my clients have resigned and gone on to other businesses, started up their own businesses, done a side hustle, as we call it, where they'll start up something else while they're still doing the corporate part. But for the most part, my clients want to succeed where they are or in the industry that they are. They just want to make the best and be the best version of themselves while they're doing it, without, as you said, without selling their soul and changing into someone they don't recognize or like.
I love that expression. I always say that it's with being true to themselves and being true to who they are and what is important to them. So yeah, it is very similar. If we go back to your own journey, so there you were in the corporate world at some point, wanting to get out of it. So how did that go for you? I, for instance, transitioned progressively, exactly as you just described. I had still my job and then I started up my business in parallel, etc. How did you handle that?
I came to a point, Agnes, where I knew that the person who everyone was gravitating to and the things that I was really good at was being dumbed down by this kind of, aggressive and pushy environment I was in. Mm-hmm. I was stressed and I had just got married and I was so happy at home. And the complete contrast of going back to work after being married and feeling myself being pulled away, working late, all the things that I just didn't want to do that I knew were bad for relationships if you are trying to sustain them and you're always late and you're always working. You're always thinking about working and traveling. And I have been told if you want to get to next level, you need to have more of a team. Running a team, you need to travel more. And I thought that's the exact opposite of what I actually want. Mm. And so my catalyst moment, which is actually described on my website, was when one of my colleagues was about to be 40, and I think I was 37 at the time. And he was coming into the office that day, and it was his birthday. And someone had put a helium balloon with 40 off his chair. It was floating there on his chair. And I'm sitting next to him. Before he came into the office, and I looked at this balloon. And I just thought, I cannot do what I'm doing and feel like I'm feeling. And another 3 years of this, waiting for that balloon, I can't do it. So within a week of that feeling, I resigned. I had 3 months notice and about 6 months money that I could tick over to give myself, having started work at 18, so nearly over over 20 years. And I just thought, I can give myself the gift of some time, and then will be something else. I can't work it all out while I'm trying to keep clients happy and whizzing around the world and sitting in meetings. I just can't do it. So this is often what a client will look for, is that where's the gap where I can actually take a breath and work out versus catapult yourself from one thing to another. And that's what I did. So I left, and then I had 6 months of nada, literally giving myself a break. We got a dog, which I said to my husband, if we get a dog, then I will not be working in the city full time, because that's pointless.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a choice moment. And then I took a part-time job working for the British Heart Foundation, which gave me some sort of structure, if you will. It was 11 hours a week, but they wanted more, but I was very fierce about the 11 hours was all I was working. And then I worked out what I wanted to do next, which was initially just, I went on a coaching course for a weekend, because someone had said to me, you remind me of someone I've worked with recently, and you have this ability to connect with people, you listen, you're very non-judgmental, these kind of things. And I'd not heard of a coach at the time. A coach was what you went on on holiday with 4 wheels and a driver. And so I went off to find out what that was all about, and it started from there.
Interesting. So what is interesting in what you're describing, and that's totally opposite to what I did, because I was 40, and on my 40th birthday, when my ex raised this glass of champagne and he said, to your birthday, I said, to a year of change. So little did he know that I would end up leaving him as a consequence, but that was not what I meant. I really meant that I needed to do something completely different. But I was living in France back then, and as far as coaching is concerned, they were really 15 years behind.
What was your corporate career, Agnes?
I have 25 years of corporate experience in consulting and IT, but mainly in administrative positions. So I've been the director of administration for a very large international executive search firm, and in a large consulting firm as well. So coming back to that, it took me 6 years to find out what I wanted, because I had no clue what I wanted at all, which I understand you didn't really know at that time. But what's interesting is that you decided to go for it, where I have waited to find the answer. And my answer came via my first coaching training as well, for complete different reasons. It wasn't related to this is what I want to do, but I thought it was interesting for myself. And on the first course, I went like, wow, that's it. And from there, the ball started rolling. So interesting to see that with a similar type of story, the routes we are choosing can be very different, which is interesting for the viewers. So how long did it take from there for you to set up your business once you had followed that course? What happened next?
Well, you can set a business up in an afternoon, as you know, because you just...
Yeah, well, here, not in France.
You can here. And I often say to clients, don't get tangled up with having a website and a logo. Just get an idea of what it is you want to offer people and see if they want it. So I think, so 2000, so it was about 6 months really. My course was about 6 months, and I did it in that 6 months. I did my dissertation, I took it really seriously. I got the case studies. From my case studies came clients, and then it went on from there. And then I was starting, it was very much a smaller operation with one-to-one work. And then a number of people said to me, oh, you ought to be doing workshops or events. You just, you have this kind of gift to be able to, inspire. Would you be interested in, or could you come into our business? So I had a few experiences like that within some big corporates and put on workshops for them. And then I also thought to myself, actually, group work, I love group work, but I don't want to be traveling all the time. And so at the time, in the internet and looking at how you can work with people like we're working now, I've worked now with clients from all over the world. I had a client in California not that long ago, in Australia. I had a client currently who was coming from a retreat from Michigan. And it's just, it doesn't have to limit you anymore. I've worked with someone in Egypt with the sound of the minarets in the background. And so this whole point of being able to reach people and be reached through the internet was really appealing, because it meant I could still be at home with our dogs. We have 3 dogs now. I walk every morning in the woods with them, and that's how my life needs to be structured for that to be possible. So working, sorry, my answer phone's going with mine. Working from home is, well, that's one of the things that I committed myself to being able to do. Excuse me, I'm going to turn this off. We'll have to just go with that. Working from home was one of the things I was absolutely determined that I wanted to do. I really looked at how I could do that. I didn't want to be travelling all the time. I didn't want to also be working with people face to face. I didn't need to. It's not like I'm a hands-on healer. So that's how I started to work out and learn how to take myself and my business online. And then in 2010, I started, as part of a group, the idea that, yep, I would write a book, because so many people had said to me, and when people keep telling you the same thing, so many people have said to me, Kay, you ought to write a book, or where can I read more about this, or I'd love to share some of the things you're telling me with other people and I don't know how to remember it. So I dared myself to write a book. Mm-hmm. And I had a book mentor at the time, who I'm still very close to, who lives in Vancouver. So again, I didn't have to. Yeah. I would write every morning. I committed to doing it within 6 months. And I came up with the title on a plane, and the title is The A to Z of Being Understood. I knew that an initial book would be like a roadmap, and the A to Z, the idea of being able to go from A, and I just wrote down in a notepad, down the side, A to Z, like that. And I filled out, in that moment, on that flight, what the A to Z would be. A was for attitude, B was for but, C was for being clear, and I just knew it. So when I came to actually put the book together, which is, as we said, the A to Z of Being Understood, I only changed 2. And I think what I say to women, well, and men, I say, you know more than you think you know. And if you dare yourself to think, well, if I was to do it, what would I do? And then you see what you come up with, you kind of keep taking the next step from there, versus thinking, oh, I don't know where to start. And I then sat on it for a little while, because it was like, oh my gosh, now am I going to do it? And one of my colleagues gave me a book by Stephen Pressfield called The War of Art. Yeah. And The War of Art is a twist on, obviously, the art of war. The War of Art is about the struggle of actually showing up and doing the work, and how you have to fight these demons that say, don't do it, it's going to be hard, I don't know if you're going to be successful, blah, blah. And rather than that, following, the commitment to doing it. And when I started reading this book, it was like a kick in the pants. And he swears in this book very, his style. And Stephen Pressfield's first chapter made me put down his book and start writing my own that day.
Excellent. Excellent.
And I wrote to him, and yes, I wrote to him. And he wrote back saying, congratulations, I'm thrilled for you. And I love hearing that had that sort of catalytic effect, if you will.
Excellent. So a lot of things that in what you have been telling us, if I rewind a bit, one of the things that I find very interesting that you refer to is that no, everything doesn't need to be perfect and ready to get started. Well, I've been in that place. I've over-prepared, but you're absolutely right. And even a basic, like everyone thinks that you need a website. No, you can get started without a website. I was saying I think it was 3 days ago to someone. So that's a very good first step. I also like this notion that you refer to indirectly is to follow your intuition. You knew you had to do that book, and you went for it. So that's another very good tip. Well, what other things would you recommend to anyone wanting to go after their dream and set up their business, whatever that business would be?
You don't have to have it all figured out. Just have to trust the next natural step. I was teaching the principles of my book on a teleseminar, and I was only 2 weeks ahead of my clients. I offered this you really ought to make an invitation and see if anyone wants to learn the book as you're going along, get some feedback. And it wasn't printed, I was just working from my notes.
Mm-hmm.
And they were on, 1 week I would do A to D and we would discuss that, and then the following week, and I was still writing only 2 weeks ahead of them. And that to me is how I now operate in my business. I didn't used to have that level of confidence where I didn't have to have it all figured out. But the irony is, you're trying to have it all figured out, you never have it all figured out.
It's the never-ending story.
So one of my clients is off for an interview this week, and she took no for an answer from the recruiter. And in our group, we were like, no does not mean no. It doesn't have to mean no to you. So that was the first thing. No doesn't have to mean no. It might not mean not now. It might mean actually no to you or from you, but I can ask someone else. So she's actually going to the interview. The other thing is that she was getting a little bit sort of fretty about, what's my story about this? And I said, the more present you can be, the more you can listen to the questions. Trust that you know the answer. Okay, it's great to have a few headline examples, but you don't have to have it all figured out what you're going to say, because you won't be natural and you'll be tangled up thinking you have to say certain things instead of saying actually what needs to be said in the moment. So, but as far as advising or giving any, if you like, it's not even it's just like, these are the things that I did that worked. I didn't have to have it all worked out. It's kept evolving. It's still evolving. I'm going to go in a different direction. I know already. I can feel it and I see it coming. Mm-hmm. And you, like your business, is always evolving, so it doesn't have to be fixed.
It shouldn't even be fixed. I like that part of the tips as well. I always say you know what your overall vision is, but you need to adapt as you will move forward. So that having that flexibility and trusting that it will all fall into place, which leads us back to the intuition part. I really, really love that. There was one thing that came up in my mind that went out as quickly as it came. What was it? It will come back. What did you find most challenging in that process? Oh, I remember. I will write it down. What did you find most challenging?
I think at first, one of the things, and a lot of women struggle with this, but is talking about money, what you charge. Mm-hmm. And so that's something you have to overcome, because otherwise it's a hobby, it's not a business.
Yeah.
And that's okay if that's what you want, but actually if you want to earn money and make it, feed you, if you will, then you have to get out of your way about talking about money. And one of the big things is actually just starting somewhere, being able to take money, as in what systems do you need, and they don't have to be that complicated either. I said to a client the other day, you've got a PayPal account, take some PayPal. But if people are trying to pay you to do something, and what do I do? And she's sort of saying, no, well, it's a mate's rate, and it's like, that's still going to be a hobby. They're trying to give you money and you're turning it away. So I think there's that, and then, which again is a process, and it's a case of understanding what your work is about and who you're talking to, and there's all sorts of things, but it just depends. If you're selling a product, then again, focusing on the customer's experience, the client's experience, what they're actually going to experience you as. People buy from people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
That we all do. So thinking and knowing that, it's like, well, how can they know me a bit better? How can they like me or be like, or I understand I'm like them? And how can I build trust? That's the fundamental of business.
Yes, I fully agree, and that's really the expensive hobby part. One of my services is called From Expensive Hobby to Successful and Fulfilling Business. So I'm absolutely with you to that extent. And the other thing that I now remember that I liked in what you were mentioning is this notion of building the plane while you're flying it. So always, as long as you're a few steps ahead of your client, you're still helping them, and that's enough. So that's another very interesting thing that you were mentioning. I'm becoming conscious of time. I want to make sure that people know also where they can find you, and if there's anything else that you want to tell them about you and your business.
Well, my website, my main website is kaywhite.com. That's K-A-Y white.com. And on my main website, all the time, is one of the first steps being able to say no. Boundaries. How comfortable you are with saying no. Because if you want to start up a business, if you want to get ahead in your career, if you want to have a better and more comfortable life, you need to have boundaries and be respectful of your own time.
Which we find quite challenging.
Time vampires take your time. So if you go to my main website at kwhite.com, there is a little place where you can leave your details. We'll stay in touch. I send out a twice monthly e-zine, which is always full of a tip and some ideas, something to work with straight away. The last one was dealing with change and the constant change. Another one is saying thank you and the power of gratitude and how to use it.
Love that.
So if you leave your details there, that will automatically connect us, and you will receive an MP3 recording of how to say no and some strategies, some mindset pieces, but also some actual language that helps people take it on, that you actually are committed to your own things that you need to do, and you're also being respectful to them. But at the moment as well, I am working on something that that is coming out in January, but you can access straight away. If you go to kwhite.com/planning, that's planning 2017, you'll receive a guide called the 2016 Review and 2017 Planning Guide. And that's designed at this time of the year to help you understand what 2016 was about and how the lessons and the let-goes and the things to really understand about yourself before guiding you through setting some strong vision for yourself for 2017. Because you build it on quicksand if you don't review.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's at kwhite.com, planning 2017, and that's a gift for you there. It also comes with a call on the 19th of January next year, a teleclass, a free complimentary teleclass, where I show you how to ask. Because, as I said, women don't ask as naturally as they need to. Yeah. So when you've understood what you want for 2017, you're going to have to ask some people for some help or for some guidance or for some things you want. And so the call on the 19th of January is designed to help and show you how to ask in a very compelling and natural way.
Excellent. That really sounds all fascinating. It's amazing the parallels that you and I have. It's interesting because I say it so often on these calls. And in life in general, I don't believe in women competing. I believe in women collaborating. And even if we are theoretically doing very similar things, we will not have the same people resonating with us, and there aren't enough people like us for all the people that need our services and that we can help transform their lives. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for that. It's always fascinating. We could go on for so much longer, but people won't listen to us that long.
It's lovely to be here. Thank you. And I hope for whoever's listening or watching this has given you some nuggets to work with and to take a chance on yourself.
By the way, a hidden benefit of your book as well for me, as a non-native English speaker, is that I'm fascinated by words and I work with it a lot, but not being a native English speaker, it helps me also find the right words, because the things you explain, I'm completely aligned with it, but I do not necessarily know the words to go with it. So thank you so much for hidden benefit. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I wrote it. This is one of the things about how you write. People tend to think that they have to go into some formal, version of themselves versus writing often as you would speak. And that is the source as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best way to be authentic. Absolutely. So thank you so much again. And so for the viewers, if you also want to find out how I can help you create a business that will sustain the life you desire for yourself, you can get a discovery consultation with me at agnesvanrijn.com, and that is ANYESVANRHIJN.com. Thank you so much, and see you in the next interview. Bye.